your notebooks, get your pens, and bring all seriousness to this matter, because this is a situation that affects us today in every city, every neighborhood in the black community. So again, listen up. You're listening to No Static Radio and Living Waters. We're going to bring it in with Officer Yadai. Go on and get started, sir.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. My name is Officer Yadai. We are Israel in Christ. We are a faith-based organization. We believe that you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are in fact the true Jews according to the Bible, the biblical Israelites. That's right, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are in fact God's chosen people, the biblical Israelites. And today we're dealing with a heavy topic. We're dealing with the human trafficking epidemic, and also it ties into the sex trade. All right, this thing has been getting a lot of exposure. This thing's been getting a lot of exposure all over the news, all over social media. When you go outside your house, they're talking about it. When you go online, they're talking about it. When you're at work, they're talking about it. It's all over the place. You cannot hide it under a rug any longer. So we're going to deal with this topic, and we want to show you that this is not a new thing. I repeat, no matter how much exposure it gets, it is not a new thing. And these things are all Bible prophecy. And the fact that it affects our people at a more high level ties right into the curses and the prophecies written in the Bible that pertain to our people. First off, I want to open up with the definition of trafficking. So, Officer, you got me?
The definition of trafficking: the act of buying or selling goods illegally.
Read on.
Arms/drug trafficking. The act of buying or selling people.
The act of what?
The act of buying or selling people.
So the act of buying or selling people. So what I want to do is I want to look at some articles from CNN and the Huffington Post.
Okay.
I sent you an article. Just scroll down to the one from the Huffington Post. I'll see right. I sent you an article from the Huffington Post. Should be the last one I sent you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, read that.
From the Huffington Post, I watched and listened to the advocacy of human trafficking at rallies, on websites, in government reports, and NGO reports.
Mm-hmm.
The research and statistics on human trafficking in America are ambiguous.
So it says that the reports that they give us on human trafficking is ambiguous, meaning it's confusion. You don't really know who it's targeting. You don't really know who it's aimed at. You don't really know what communities are being affected. It's ambiguous. They're like, oh, everybody's at large. Everybody's missing. It's everybody. It's universal. Read on.
Especially in relation to race and ethnicity.
They give you the report as if race is not a factor in human trafficking. Ethnicity is not a factor. That's how they give you the report, as if it's just everybody coming missing. The Chinese are coming to missing at an alarming rate. The Korean are coming up missing at an alarming rate. Apu and the Cookie Mark, the Arabs are coming up missing at an alarming rate. And that's not the case.
Right.
Go ahead.
We need to explicitly recognize the connections between trafficking, poverty, migration, gender, racism, and racial discrimination.
You said that? It says we need to explicitly recognize the connections between trafficking, poverty, who's at the bottom of society's people, blacks and Hispanics, Native American Indians. It said gender. What gender is being targeted? Men. What men? Primarily blacks and Hispanic men who pack the prisons, for example.
Right.
It said racism. We know who racism impacts at a large level. We know they just recently had to figure out if we was gonna be able to vote again. They had to decide on whether they're gonna let us keep that law. So it says racism and racial discrimination. So all these things do what? They go hand in hand with human trafficking. Quiet is kept. Go ahead.
And racial discrimination to adequately battle and destroy human trafficking in the U.S.
So the only way you can deal with human trafficking in the U.S. is if you also include all these factors. Read on.
Trafficking persons is inherently discriminatory.
No. It's universal.
Trafficking persons is inherently discriminatory.
Since trafficking began, it has always been discriminatory. Read on.
Since an overwhelming majority of trafficked persons are women,
There are women. Read.
trafficking in most circles is usually considered a gender issue,
Read on.
especially in the United States. Majority of trafficking in the U.S. is sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
In the U.S., most state human trafficking laws explicitly and directly address sexual exploitation.
So they make it seem like human trafficking is all about women. But But let's see if that's true. Go on to the next paragraph where it starts with however.
However, a link that is rarely discussed in open forums about human trafficking is racial discrimination.
Is what?
Is racial discrimination.
Read.
A question that I don't hear enough is, does race and ethnicity contribute to the likelihood of people becoming victims of trafficking?
Mm-hmm.
I say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, I believe that not only does race and ethnicity constitute a risk factor for trafficking, it may also determine the treatment those victims experience.
Right, so it says not only does race and ethnicity constitute a risk factor for trafficking, it may also determine the treatment of those victims experience, meaning once you traffic, how you are treated. So not only does it affect us directly, when we get kidnapped, when we are snatched off the streets, we are treated horribly
Right.
in comparison with other races who are also trafficked. So, start from where it says a large majority. Yeah, you got it.
A large majority of trafficked persons in the U.S. for the purpose of labor and sexual exploitation
Free labor.
are people.
Don't free labor ring a bell? So it says a large majority of trafficked persons in the U.S. for the purposes of labor, which is free labor, and what else?
of labor and sexual exploitation
Are who?
are people of color.
Wow. Read on.
Domestically, 50%.
What percent?
50%
Uh-huh.
of traffic victims are children,
Mm-hmm.
and overwhelmingly are girls,
Read.
according to the U.S. Department of Justice.
So what do you have? You have it. They say that 50%. They says that the majority of trafficked persons in the U.S. are people of color, and amongst those people, it's the bulk of our children and our women. So what do y'all think about that?
So we get profiled even in sex trafficking. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans get profiled the most, even in that disgusting way of getting money.
So not only you got to worry about the squad car getting behind you, you got to worry about the white van getting behind you, the black van with no windows getting behind you.
Right.
You know why I think it happens? I think it's a case of filthy spirits, you know, and who they desire the most. Like, they might not like us on the outside, but their ugly desires come from inside. And then that's the behavior it distributes. They take our women, they take our children, and they abuse them.
So real quick, I want to go to this report from CNN. So that was the Huffington Post. Now I'm going to go to this report from CNN. Go to the last one I sent you from CNN. Actually, the second to last one. We'll start with that one. Then we did the one after that. Yeah, no, the one before that. Yep, go ahead, deal with that one.
Missing kids of color.
So this is about CNN. Go ahead.
About 14% of U.S. children are black,
Uh-huh.
but black kids, according
According to reports.
to reports, for more than for more than a third of missing child cases.
So now, black children, kids of color, make up about 14% of U.S. children. All right, 14%. But they make up 1/3 of all cases. So we talking about, as a whole, we're talking about 100% of all the children in America, right? 14% of those children are minorities, black and brown children. But that 14% makes up over 33% of the children that are missing in America. Over 33%. Now watch this. Watch where the confusion comes in at. So go ahead and read the bar graph.
Reading the bar graph. Missing children, whites, 57%.
57% of missing children, it says, are white. But read the parentheses.
Parentheses, includes Hispanic.
It does what?
Includes Hispanic.
Man.
Now, why would they include Hispanics
Craft.
with the white minority? With
Smokescreen right
the
there.
white majority? Why would they add in, are whites and Hispanics the same people?
Crafty. Not at all. Not
Why
at all.
wouldn't they separate the Hispanic bar graph so we can see perfectly how much that's affecting our Latino brothers, who are in fact the Israelites? Why would they add them in to the bar graph with the whites? Why is it? And you see that a lot. You see that on job applications.
Right.
White, Hispanic, white, not. Why are they being added? I could have sworn that in 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue,
Right.
he killed Hispanics in by large numbers, by the millions.
Right.
And that feast is coming up. It's called Thanksgiving. That feast
Yep.
is coming up to commemorate that event. But now the FBI is making reports, and they add in Hispanic statistics with the white statistics.
Man,
That's
53
confusion.
plus 1. What is that? What's the percentage on that?
57%.
57. So more than likely it's about 55% Hispanic, 2% that run away on their own that come up missing.
Exactly.
This is madness.
Exactly. So now, look at these numbers. The amount of blacks in this country is said to be between 10% and 14%. All right? The amount of so-called Hispanics in this country is said to be between 10% and 14%. That means that together with blacks and Hispanics, we make up, at most, 28% of the U.S. population. But we make up over half of the missing people. Somewhere between 37% and 50% of all missing people.
Man.
And there is not an agenda in place. So read that again.
Whites, excuse me, missing children. White, which includes Hispanic, 57%.
Mhm.
Blacks, 37%.
What did it say?
37%.
37%. That's not even including so-called Puerto Ricans,
Mm.
so-called Mexicans, so-called Dominicans. That's not including any of them. El Salvadorian, Argentinian, Chilean. That's not including any of them.
Native Americans.
And we know they 1,475 so-called Mexicans came up missing at the border.
Right. They still building institutions. What's those little? They just built a real large one in Texas. What's the buildings they putting them in?
Concentration camp.
Concentration camps.
Exactly. Detention centers.
Yeah.
Children detention centers. So let's go to the next slide from the CNN. CNN US Live TV.
So it's safe to say that the so-called other nations know who they're trying to kidnap. They know who they want to traffic.
Absolutely.
Next article from CNN. It's harder to say how many Hispanic kids are missing.
Read that one more time.
It's harder to say how many Hispanic kids are missing.
It says, the CNN report says it's hard to say how many of them are missing. Read.
The FBI reports groups white and Hispanic children together.
So who told them to do that?
Mm.
Who told them to do that? Y'all are not the same people. You came from the caves of Europe. You went across the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
You slaughtered these people and subjugated them. And then now you make a report and you include y'all as if y'all are one people.
Sweeping under the rug.
That's confusing. This one, but look, let's read about the other reports that tell the truth. Go ahead.
Based on other reports,
Start from the FBI,
the FBI report groups white and Hispanic children together.
which is nonsense. Go ahead.
Based on other reports, about 20% of missing children are Hispanic or Latinos.
So remember, they only make up 10 to 14% of the entire U.S. population. But about 1 in 5, that's 20% of missing children are Hispanic.
We got a caller.
Hello, caller, are you there? Shalom. Caller, are you there?
You on Living Waters Radio.
Shalom, can you hear me?
Guess they just breathing on the phone.
Okay, well, we'll continue. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to call in. Again, this is Living Waters, and Officer Yadai is going on a heavy topic of human trafficking and the sex trade, which is relevant everywhere right now. Everywhere. So please listen up. If you have any calls, please feel free to give us a call or chime in online, and you're welcome to ask any questions online as well. Carry on, Off.
Based on other reports, about 20% of missing children are Hispanic or Latino, according to Robert Laurie, Vice President of the Missing Child Division at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. But the real number, he said, is likely higher.
He said, but the real number is like, so
Likely.
they're already saying that, because the FBI won't separate them, which they should be separated, because they're not the same people.
Right.
The FBI won't separate them, but independent researchers have said that 1 in 5, which is 20% of those missing, are Hispanic, so-called Hispanic, which we know out of 10 tribes. Can we get that real quick so we can prove those who found this land before Columbus found this land with people in it? Can we get 2nd Ezra 13?
Yes, sir.
For all those who listen who may not know what I mean when I say so-called Hispanics, the Hispanics are Israelites, the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, the legendary 12 tribes. So let's get who found this land first. Was it Columbus? Was it another group of people? Let's see.
This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which are carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Shalmaneser the king of Assyria led away captive. He carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would have the multitude of the heathen and go forth
That they would leave.
that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
So it's talking about, because we all know that civilization started in the East. They call Africa the cradle of civilization. Specifically, civilization started in the land of Israel. All right? So now the Bible is telling us who the people were that left that part of the world and came to this part of the world that was uncharted territory. All right? So go ahead.
And the same region is called Arsareth.
Before this land was named after Amerigo Vespucci, who was the Italian navigator, this region was called Arsareth. Before it was named after the Italian navigator who found this coastline, it was called Arsareth. Go ahead.
Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
Right. So, and they still here to this day, and they make up over 20% of those who are being who suffer human trafficking. So, real quick, you got the report from CNN? Yeah, let's bring that out.
Report from CNN. Black kids go missing at a higher rate than white kids. Here's why we don't hear about them. The chilling story of Jaime Close, the 13-year-old Wisconsin girl who was kidnapped after her parents were killed last year, was national news. But people might be less familiar with the story of Ariana Fitz, a 2-year-old who went missing in 2016 before her mother was found brutally murdered in the San Francisco Bay Area. Each of these cases is compelling, but the two didn't receive the same amount of media attention. Some experts believe it is because Close is white and Fitz is black.
Right. So now, jump all the way down, because we went through that bar graph already. Jump down to their families are hesitant to call police. CNN is listing different reasons why, when our children go missing, there's not the same public outcry. All right? So you got that? Go ahead.
Their family are hesitant to call police. Some families are hesitant to contact law enforcement, even if they think their child is missing.
So it says that some families are hesitant to contact law enforcement, even if they think their child is missing. So let's see why. Go ahead, read on.
There's a sense of distrust between the law enforcement and the minority community.
Should there be a sense of distrust between us and the police? Should there be?
All day.
Can we get Psalms 94 and 20? should that, and can I get Psalms 10 at the same time? Can I get Psalms 10 also? Should there be a sense of distrust between us and law enforcement?
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 94, verse 20.
Read.
Shall the throne of iniquity
The Bible calls America the throne of iniquity. The word throne symbolizes a great kingdom. So the Bible says, shall the throne of iniquity, meaning the kingdom of sin, read,
have fellowship with thee?
shall it have fellowship with God's people? Does this place have our best interests at heart? Read.
Which frameth mischief by law.
It says they frameth mischief by law. They use the laws to oppress us. So how can we call the police when they are the first hand?
Right.
Now, get Psalms 10.
What you want me to start at?
Start at verse, let's see. Start at verse 8.
This is,
Got it?
yeah.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 8.
So this is kind of how this is why certain people have that sense of not wanting to call the police, because a lot of times when they are in their patrol cars, where are they patrolling? What blocks are they circling?
Inner cities.
Exactly. So go ahead, read that.
He sitteth in the lurking places
With his coffee and his donuts. Go ahead.
of the villages.
Mm-hmm.
In the secret places doth he murder the innocent.
So now we have to turn to those who murder our people in cold blood when we have an issue at home. We have an issue with our families. So the article is going to go into detail. So go ahead, finish that.
His eyes.
No, that's all I want on that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Officer, right?
All right, continuing the CNN report,
Mhm.
there's a sense of distrust between law enforcement and the minority community,
Mhm.
said Natalie Wilson, co-founder of the Black and Missing Foundation. That distrust contributes to a silent code of no snitching.
A silent code of no snitching. This is a result of us not keeping God's laws. All right? Because under God's laws, can we get the law about snitching? Maybe our people don't know that God's laws was made for the betterment of our people.
Right.
All right?
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 5, verse 1. And if a soul sin,
If a what?
if
If any soul sin. Don't care if you're a rich soul or a poor soul. If a soul sin, come on.
and hear the voice of
If
swearing,
you hear anything that sounds fishy, come on.
and is witness whether he hath seen or known of it,
Mhm.
if he do not utter
If
it,
he don't tell what happened, read,
then he shall bear his iniquity.
you just as guilty. That's what God says. If you don't tell what happened, you are just as guilty. So this no snitching is a result of a community that does not keep God's laws. These laws are perfect for any society that chooses to keep them. They was given to our people. So go ahead, read on.
That distrust contributes to a silent code of no snitching, Wilson said, adding that it is important for people who suspect a child is missing to speak up. It could be your child, your mother, your father that is missing, she said. You would want someone to speak up to help find them.
Read.
Other families might not report that their child is missing because they fear it could have an unintended negative consequence.
Right, because police show up to your house, they might be like, well, can we look around? I said my child is missing. What you mean you want to look around?
Right. Right.
They might run your background. They like, hey, what's up with this felony you got from 1996? So it says they fear that because what? They fear they might have unintended negative consequences. Read on.
For example, Lori suspects missing Latino children are underreported.
Although they already over 20%
Right.
and make up less than 10 to 14% of the U.S. population, it says they are still underreported. I mean, there's more of them missing. Read on.
Are underreported because some families with undocumented members might not contact police for fear of being deported.
Undocumented members. Last time I checked, this was their land.
Right.
The land that was called Arsarith.
Right.
Now they the illegal aliens. Now they the ones who are undocumented. I find that funny. Can we get Limitations 5? They have fear of being deported. Deported. Last time I checked, this was there in their brother's land. 10 tribes came here.
You know what's heavy? All this going on in the country, and they putting a big red alert against opioids, as if that's a real situation. We got people coming up missing on a day-to-day basis, and they putting a red flag and funding towards the opioid problem, which is very minimal. And crack came out, they said nothing.
Nope.
Kids come up missing, they said nothing. We got adults and children getting trafficked, and what is this? Today's modern-day slavery.
Right.
And nobody's speaking on it.
Right.
But they're making a crisis about opioid problems. This is madness.
Right. All right. Go ahead.
Lamentations 5.
So remember, in the CNN report, they said that sometimes our Hispanic brothers, who are the Israelites, the Bible speaks of, they don't like to call because they fear what? They fear what? They are undocumented and they may be deported. But go ahead. That's prophecy. Go ahead.
Lamentations chapter 5, verse 1. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
This land is the 10 tribes' inheritance. This land is the land of the so-called Hispanics and Latinos. This is their land.
Facts.
that was invaded.
Facts.
It says our what?
Our inheritance
Our inheritance, this land is what?
is turned to strangers.
They are the stranger. They are the invader. And now we fear calling them, who are in authority now, in the land where they kill people and build courthouses to judge matters and set up their own law enforcement, although they were the most lawless people to ever step foot on this earth.
Ever.
It says it's turned to strangers. Go ahead.
Our houses to aliens.
The houses that was built here, they took over those things. Go ahead.
We are orphans and fatherless.
Right. Our fathers are being mass incarcerated, deported, families are being separated to this day. Same thing that happened when they first got here. Go ahead.
Our mothers are as widows.
Why? Because the fathers are missing out of the households. Go ahead.
We have drunken our water for money.
Why? Because they came over here and now they control the resources. You need what? A green card. And we give even though we're the foreigner, we give the person who was born in this continent a green card to live here.
Right. Right.
Read.
Our wood is sold unto us.
Their resources have to be purchased now. Go ahead.
Our necks are under persecution.
It says our necks are under persecution. We've been oppressed. Go ahead.
We labor and have no rest.
More oppression. Go ahead.
We have given the hand to the Egyptians.
So who are they talking about? Who was the slave master back in Egypt? Pharaoh and the Egyptians.
Right.
What's modern day America? The same slave master. So now, did you want to add something to that?
I just want to say, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? This is direct. The blinds is open that these are regarding the natives, blacks, and Hispanics. This is what? The Holy Bible that your church have in every pulpit and on every pew that's down the aisle, but nobody reads it.
They don't go to church. A lot of them go to church, but they go to hotels though. It's in that top
It's
drawer.
definitely in that drawer in the hotel. While you commit adultery and fornicating, you have the Bible right next to you about your history. These is just clear facts that this Bible is talking about nobody but the so-called blacks, native, and Hispanics. And who are you? You are the Israelites according to the Bible.
Right.
This is why you have to pay attention and be honest with yourself. Who else in the world could this Bible be about besides you? Carry on.
All right, go ahead. Back to the article.
Going back to the CNN article, they don't get as much media coverage. News media organizations have often been criticized for not giving missing black children the amount of attention they give missing white kids. A 2010 study found that black children were significantly underrepresented in TV news.
But I thought they say we form this truth to be self-evident that all men something like that.
Created equal.
Oh, that's what it
something
say.
like that.
That's what it say.
But they got the Amber Alert out of all names.
I never heard the
Amber
Shaquisha Alert.
Right, where's Jaquisha
I
at?
never heard the Sharkeisha alert.
Amber and Annie Alert.
I never heard the Jaquan alert. How come Jaquan don't got no alert?
Right.
You see that thing? Read that thing again, bro.
A 2010 study found that black children were significantly underrepresented in TV news. Even though about a third of all missing children in the FBI database were black.
Wow. Read that last bit. You see that thing was heavy. You see how people don't know this thing.
Wow.
You see, because you let the media tell you, oh, it's happening to everybody. It's happening to every community. No, it's you who got the target on your back, sister. It's you that have the target on your back, brother. It's our children that have the target on their back.
Hide your kids, hide your wife. Nobody say.
Seriously.
Real talk though, real talk.
Read that part again.
Even though about a third of all missing children in the FBI's database were black,
Read.
they only made up about 20% of the missing children cases covered in the news.
You see that thing? So now, jump down to families don't have the resources. We know that we are what? We are what? Marginalized as a people. We know that we are what? We are cut off. We are disenfranchised as a people from a lot of opportunities. They know that. So watch this. A part that plays into us being trafficked is what? Lack of resources.
Right.
Go ahead, read that.
Families don't have the resources. Families don't always have the financial resources to respond appropriately.
To do what?
To respond appropriately
We don't have the money to respond appropriately. Go ahead.
when their child is missing.
Read.
They might not be able to afford a private investigator.
They what?
They might not be able to afford a private
It shouldn't be
investigator.
they might not. They most likely will not be able to afford a lawyer. Most likely not. We always got a public defender. Always.
Always.
So now your child is missing. There is no public defender. There is not one. You have to hire someone. Do y'all realize that?
That's crazy.
At least when you commit a crime, they give you what? If you can't afford one will be what? One will be appointed unto you. Y'all done heard y'all right. I ain't the only one. I ain't the only one that heard them rights before.
So our
When the
people
rookie comes, the rookie comes, it's his second day of work. He have to represent a brother with a serious criminal case. The brother's trying to get a name, and guess what? He just got done. The person he's going up against, the public defender, probably worked for the person across the table.
Exactly. You got a brother sending us some schmuck whose suit don't fit.
Right.
His tie even made right. It's loose. Meanwhile, this person, yeah, you know what? I know it's your first case, but I think you should just take the 5 years, man. What you think?
Right.
But at least you got something.
Right.
When our children come missing, do they say, you know what, your child is missing, you can't afford an attorney, won't be appointed unto you?
No.
Wow, so a murderer get an attorney for free, but I don't get one for free that can represent me and find my child?
That's heavy.
So by the time the family raises enough money, the child can be further and further away from their family.
Out of the country.
Or then they might have to owe an IOU to a lawyer just to get the process started in finding their kid.
Now you got another ball and chain of death.
Dang.
Right.
Go ahead and read that thing again.
Families don't always have the financial resources to respond appropriately when their child is missing.
Read.
They might not be able to afford a private investigator
Mm-hmm.
or take off from work to help look for their child and follow up with law enforcement and the media.
Now, is that Bible prophecy? Is that what happened to blacks and Hispanics? Of course it is. Let's get Deuteronomy 28. Let's start at verse 15 and let's jump to verse 32. We don't have the resources to get our children. That sounds like the Bible. You see, but y'all don't read the Bible. Pastor too busy shucking and jiving, showing you his new moonwalk. He had the sideways moonwalk. Deuteronomy 28, let's start at verse 15.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15.
That's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to read the Bible. That's what we're going to do. We're going to read the Bible. Go ahead.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
You know who God is talking to? Those of you who don't like to listen. You blacks and Hispanics who don't like to listen are stiff-necked people.
That's right.
Go ahead.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God says, if our ancestors, which are you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, those who have been renamed over and over again, for example, your nationality went from color to Afro-American, African-American, black. Now they calling y'all ADOS, ADOS, meaning African descendants of slaves. You so-called Dominicans, well, that means faithful dog of God. You Puerto Ricans, that means rich poor, but y'all got robbed and left in poverty.
True.
You people who have been renamed these names that make no sense and are not identifiers of who you are and what blood is running in your veins, you people are the ones that God is talking to. Now let's read the curse, verse 32.
Verse 32.
Watch this.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
That's in the Bible, folks. That's talking about you. That ain't talking to everybody. That's why the curse always hits us disproportionately. When God says we're going to be in poverty, yeah, is there a person in China right now who want a bowl of rice? Of course there is. But guess what? We are the majority when it comes to poverty. We are the face of poverty.
Right.
That's right.
So it says, we're going to be the face of this curse. Go ahead, read the curse again.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
According to the FBI, we are the face of this curse. According to the FBI, when you read this curse in the Bible, you got to imagine your people. The Jews is us. God is talking to the Jews in this verse.
Make it plain.
He's telling his chosen people that your sons and your daughters. So when you think about what this means, is the Jewish man, is the Jewish boy with the yarmulke coming up missing?
Never.
Is the Jewish girl with the yarmulke coming up missing?
With a ransom with another Jewish person.
Is he saying Mazel Tov getting thrown into the back of a black van?
Not at all.
Mazel Tov. Is that what's happening? That's
Not at
not
all.
what's happening.
Is he breaking a wine glass under a piece of cloth?
Is somebody getting snatched out the bar mitzvah? I don't think so. This is talking about us.
That's
This
right.
Bible is talking to you. You are God's chosen people. And you have not kept the Lord's commandments. Therefore we suffer. Read 32 again.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people,
Uh-huh.
and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
It says that we will want our children back. Some parents, if you read the articles, some parents die shortly after their child comes up missing. What is that called? That's called longing for them all day long till what? you hurt your heart. And there's a condition in the heart what they've classified as heartbreak. Why? Because your children are come up missing. And you long for them all the day long to the point where it makes you sick. And you die from that. Same way somebody dies when they lose a spouse. It says in there, and read the bottom part.
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
No might in thine hand. What we just read in the CNN article, families don't have the resources. Although 50% is you blacks and Hispanics coming up missing, y'all don't have the resources to get them back. Y'all don't know what to do. Y'all can't hire a private investigator. Y'all can't hire an attorney. You don't know what to do. There is no might in your hand. That goes into what? Financial might, economic might. We definitely don't have no military might to get our children back. We didn't have it then in slavery. We don't have it today in this modernized slavery.
I don't think y'all really see how heavy this really is. These curses is clear evidence that it's on our people right now. And a lot of us take this thing for granted because the Most High didn't talk to you yet directly. But what is he trying to do? He's trying to wake you up to let you know that you are the chosen people of God. And the fact that you don't keep the commandments, these things are not going to stop. This is definitely something that y'all need to ponder on and put yourself in the shoes of these people that's coming up missing. Parents, brother, sister, make it a reality because it could be your neighbor or it could be your own child. This is a reality in today. Very, very heavy in our communities.
That's right. So, backtracking a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we read earlier, it said that they group in, the FBI specifically, the Federal Bureau
Of investigation.
Exactly. They grouped Hispanics, Latinos, with whites and create statistics.
Right.
I could barely say that word. That's like, no, I'm Judah. I could barely say that thing. That thing almost gave me a half a heart attack. So they group. Why do they do that? Why often they do that?
They do that to muffle the true numbers because they know there's not many white kids, aka Edomites, coming up missing. So in order to buffer and to put a smoke screen on our people to keep them asleep, we'll just bunch them together and we'll just say Hispanics and whites as if they're one people. And like our Brits just brought out, they killed millions of the Hispanics when they got here. And now they put themselves with them. Why? Because it keeps our people asleep. It keeps the division between black and Hispanic community, and it keeps us separate.
There you go. Give me Psalms 2. There you go. That's heavy. That's heavy. That's crafty counsel. Now watch this. Psalms chapter 2. As long as, because remember, it's not just for the missing children. Even job applications, different bureaus and census, they group them together. Why are they doing that? So the Latino or the Hispanic who is facing the same level of oppression that his brother is facing, he does not associate himself with his own brother. Although we have common problems, common oppression, and a common enemy. As long as he keeps seeing himself grouped with whites, so-called whites, who are Edomites, biblically speaking, he will do what? He will continue mentally to disassociate himself with our people, although we suffer.
Right.
So watch it. That's crafty counsel. Psalms chapter 2.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 2. Why do the heathen rage?
Why do the heathen? If you want to know what a heathen is somebody who is not an Israelite. Who are the Israelites? Some might ask. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. I'm going to say it a lot. Those were the sticks. So it says, why do the heathen rage? I mean, why do the non-Israelite people rage? Why are they so mad? Mad at us. Why is that? Go ahead.
And the people imagine a vain thing.
Why do these other nations imagine vain things like Jesus is a white man, for example, when the Bible says he's black twice, actually 3 times? Because in Revelation 2, Christ told you out of his own mouth that he has dark skin. But why do they imagine vain things like they're going to keep us subjugated forever, like our king will never return and deliver us? Why do they imagine vain things? Read on.
Verse 2. The kings of the earth set themselves.
Because God is not dealing with them. They don't have a God. Read on.
And the rulers take counsel together against the Lord.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Are we reading what book are you reading?
We are reading the King James Bible.
Read.
Verse 2.
No, what book are you in?
I'm in the book of Psalms.
Psalms. I thought Psalms had beautiful words and poems.
Right.
I thought Psalms had spoken word by David and Asaph and them.
Right.
What book are you in?
I'm in the book of Psalms, chapter 2, verse 2.
So watch this. Read that.
The kings of the earth set themselves.
So watch this.
And the rulers take counsel together.
That's not a good counsel. This counsel is bad for our people. Because guess what? Guess who ain't there being represented? The Negro ain't there being represented. The Latino ain't there being represented. These heathens is the subject matter. They sit down, they take counsel together. Read on.
Against the Lord.
No. They take counsel to bring forth the Lord's kingdom on earth.
Against the Lord.
And what else?
And against his anointed, saying.
Who is God's anointed? You Israelites.
Right.
You people who are the best thing ever created, but at the bottom of everything, somehow. Y'all are the strongest, the brightest, the most brilliant, but somehow y'all have found yourself at the bottom of society. That is divine punishment. That's what a curse is. That's a curse, a divine punishment. So it says, against the Lord and his anointed, meaning his people. Read.
Saying.
What?
Let us break their bands asunder.
They want to keep us divided. What is the purpose of a band, a rubber band? It keeps things together. A band symbolizes unity. You understand? God made us what? 12 tribes, one nation. As long as we know that we the 12 tribes of Israel, we come from Jacob, we will always be together. We know we the same people. No matter how much you and your brother or sister feud, y'all will always be what? Reconciled to one another. Why? Because y'all have a common ancestry.
Right.
But they said, let us do what?
Let us break their bands asunder.
So how did they break our bands between so-called blacks and Hispanics? Because the southern kingdom was made up of Judah, Benjamin, Levi. That's what you call the so-called black race. Like you got the so-called African American, the so-called West Indian, the so-called Haitian. We are Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You understand? The southern kingdom of Israel. King David ruled over us. King Solomon ruled over us. Then you had northern kingdom, which is so-called Puerto Ricans, so-called Mexicans, so-called Native American Indians. I say so-called because these are not your names. Y'all are tribes. Reuben, Simeon, Ephraim, Naphtali, Asher, Gad, Simeon,
Right.
etc.
Issachar.
Exactly. So it says, let us break their bands asunder. So they want to do what? They want to divide us. So how did they divide us? They gave a lot of the so-called blacks, they gave us what? They gave us Southern Baptists. A lot of us are Baptists. Pentecostal, right?
Right.
They gave a lot of the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Hispanics, what? Catholicism.
Catholicism.
They give one Mary and give one white Jesus. Give one white Mary, give one white Jesus. So what? We divide our religion. And guess what? The British from England, they taught us what? English. Then what? They taught them what? Spanish. So now we divided with language. Now guess what? In these last days, group them in all statistics with what? White folks. So now when they look at paper, they do what? Even though they've been oppressed just like us, in the ghettos with us, in the slums with us, they what? They disassociate themselves even further with us.
And what's so heavy is that scripture right there. He said the crafty counsel. When you look at the UN today, look at any major power in this world, the powers that be. You can't name one Negro or Hispanic representative in the United Nations.
That's right.
All these other nations. What is this doing? This Bible is coming to life right before your eyes, letting you know that God's word is true. As much as our people stay asleep, you keep going to church, you keep running away from the Most High, these things are going to follow you. The reality is there's no black people that ever been president of the United States. That Obama thing, put him back to sleep. Put all y'all back to sleep because he was not black. He was considered, or he was an African, which was considered Ham according to God. He was not us. So a lot of our people really think that they have some part in this whole thing. No, you are just being pawns. Why? Because y'all don't want to know who you are according to who God made you to be and wants you to be. It's time to wake up, people. Real quick, just to give y'all the number, if you are listening in and you want to ask any questions, please feel free to give us a call at 216-939-5087. That's 216-939-5087.
Questions, comments, concerns, call in.
All right, is it a commercial break or we on?
Yeah, we can go to
So once again, you are listening to IUIC Living Waters, and we are out here to teach you so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics that this Bible is real, whether it was from history or determining who you are today. The Bible is making it plain to you that you are God's chosen. We need y'all to repent, wake up, and get back to your nationality before it's too late for you. You are listening to IUIC Living Waters on No Static Radio. Stay tuned.
Did you get the other music I sent you?
You said it today?
NSR, yep.
No, let me check.
sis, could you give me the link to your, when you get done with that, send me the link to your YouTube. I was trying to share it out.
It's No Static Radio, all one word.
I think I put it in, and I don't think I've seen it on there. Let me see. Maybe it separated the words, that's what it was.
Yeah, it's all one word.
Wait for it. How's the time looking for you, man? How's the time looking for you?
I practice most of the stuff. No, but perfect though. I know I'm trying to get every Thursday. I like all four. That's all. Let me get to it. As right. As right started, I'm like, oh,
I'm trying to keep that thing short and sweet, man. You want me to fall back on it? That's the way out.
That's the way out.
So nobody can say that again. Is this it right here, sis? You just share that?
No, that's not it. Here.
Somebody taking your name. You better fight
Yeah,
for
that's
copyright.
the old page from the when the white owner owned it.
If you got a line, just something that we could share live.
Yeah, here, let me get it.
Bro, you need to stretch it. Your quad or your hand?
She probably make nobody come. Still, that is no
Just hopped up. I ain't know what was wrong. Where you hopped up?
that thing. Pay $300 for that thing.
Might want to stand up and stretch it out for the break. Episode.
I sent it to you. I don't have anything from you.
Be cool.
In the refrigerator in a little small room. Yeah.
Ain't no sudden movement, trust me. Straight back.
Started living righteous. It's who I am, I know I couldn't fight this. When Christ come back, there's gonna be some mourning. You never know the song could be your final warning. Judgment day, judgment day, Christ got judgment day, judgment day, judgment day. Only God can judge me, well trust me, you won't wanna see judgment day. And there'll be some more crying.
Boy, that's hilarious. I can't stand it myself, bro.
You have to live it back to Christ.
I'm telling you.
But these are going to be pushing.
Esau started that, bro.
Like Hebrew Israelites. Automobile car.
He ain't go automobile car.
About to work on the logo. I was telling Sonia to try to work on the logo for us.
You step up in our life, this is celebrate me. You don't care what people say. I feel myself lately. Dirty bad mind move for me. When I can't face
I didn't want to put up that definition of arts rep in the dictionary. I had to pull it up.
New life, new life.
I guess I don't free some now.
New life, new life. Don't think man I deal with this a new life. New life, new life. New life, new life. New life, new life. Don't think man I deal with this. Them must have change up. Bad influence don't good. I feel rearrange us. I feel progress in our life. Some people stay
God damn. Can't get it out all of us. It's easy, y'all. I gotta go to the other room. You're right. I'm skeptical logic. Right side is emotion. We want to sports.
You're right to slay. Sorry, right on the door. See, that's the next thing. You know where to go. She probably should do it back then. I'm not gonna side door. You're not gonna front seat anyway, though. You know, I just bought that. You know, I just bought that.
Dirty bad mind move from me. But you can't face me. Brand new thing, man, I deal with this a new life. New life, new life, oh, oh. New life, new life, oh, oh. New life, new life, yeah. Brand new thing, man, I deal with this a new life. New life, new life, oh, oh. New life, new life, oh, oh. New life, new life, yeah. Brand new thing, man, I deal with.
Different nationality, what we take it back. It's trying forever, but we make it back. All the dirty ways, we heard me and dash it back. So I got to the street and we afraid to try to sleep like an anchor, but me floating to the top. Trusting on the Father, so we solid as a rock. When we pull up in the spot, then religion gets stuck. We know the right from the wrong, now we them can't try. I'm just sleeping like an anchor, but me floating to the top. Trusting on the Father, so we solid as a rock. When we pull up in the spot, then religion gets stuck. We know the right from the wrong, now we them can't try.
What if this was
Sandwich bag is a cargo.
We're about to get ready and shift gears.
Dirty bad mind move from me. But you can't face me. New life, new life, new life, oh, oh. New life, new life, oh, oh. New life, new life, yeah. Brand new thing when I deal with this a new life. New life, new life, oh, oh. New life, new life, oh, oh. New life, new life, yeah. Brand new thing when I deal with this a new life. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, brand new thing when I deal with this a new life. Yeah, brand new thing, man, I deal with.
Hello, this is Rob C.
And this is Miss Andrew
And you're listening to Bring the Noise
on No Static Radio.
every Thursday night. So call in at 216-939-5087.
That's 216-939-5087. You can also listen to us on Mixer, TuneIn, iTunes, and Mixcloud.
On No Static Radio, where we don't bring the static, but we show up bring the noise.
For more than 20 years, the Life Act team has been helping to save lives in Northeast Ohio. By educating teens to understand and identify the warning signs of depression, Life Act empowers them with the tools they need to get help for themselves or another in order to help prevent suicide. Life Act's dedicated and caring instructors have delivered our educational face-to-face suicide program to over 170,000 students in Northeast Ohio since 2000. They relay their knowledge of this sensitive topic and present it in a way that keeps middle and high school students engaged and open to sharing. Our office staff maintains a passionate community for this organization while ensuring long-term viability and success in our mission.
To learn more about volunteering for Like That, call 216-464-3471 or email cbarr@likeact.org. Like That is located at 29425 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 203, Cleveland, Ohio, 44112. Again, contact 216-464-3471 for volunteer services or if you need help. Also, you can email Like That at info@likeact.org.
Verses.
Ready, go.
All right. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless. You are listening to IUIC Living Waters, and we are back. We are back on a hot topic today: human trafficking and the sex trade, which is rampant in our community. Please feel free to see us on YouTube. Tune in on Static Radio on YouTube. Catch us live right now. Ask any questions, whether it's online or you want to call in. Please feel free. Again, we are talking about human trafficking, and we're going to get straight back to it to let y'all know how this connects to us in the Bible. To make it plain, make it clear that you are the people in the Bible, you so-called blacks, Native, and Hispanics. With that being said, I'll give it back over to Officer Yadai.
All right, so we still dealing with human trafficking and the sex trade, sex trafficking, all right? And how that ties into our people. Who are our people? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. You are the legendary biblical Israelites, God's chosen people. And these things affect you disproportionately more than others. Why? Because you are suffering the curses of God's judgment. And America will not save you. America cannot save you. And guess what? Although human trafficking is getting a lot of media attention and a lot of exposure, this is not a new phenomenon. This is not a new thing under the sun. Give me Ecclesiastes real quick. Chapter 1. This didn't drop out the sky. Trafficking did not drop out the sky. Remember, trafficking is the act of buying or selling goods, right? Remember, act of buying and selling people. That's what trafficking is. It did not fall out the sky. Let's read this. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that hath been.
It said what?
The thing that hath been.
Meaning the events that took place in the past. Come on.
It is that which shall be.
It is what?
It is that which shall be.
Read.
And that which is done.
And that what?
And that which is done.
And that which is done. Read.
Is that which shall be done.
Read.
And there is no new thing under the sun.
It says there is no new thing under the sun. So real quick, give me Revelations chapter 11. It says there is no new thing under the sun. So let's deal with that. It says that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Revelations 11, start at verse 8.
The book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 8. Mm-hmm. And their dead bodies shall...
The dead bodies is talking about the Israelites. Why is it saying our dead bodies? Why? Because we don't know our nationality. We don't know what our homeland is. We don't know what our culture or our religion is, which is God's laws. We don't know anything. We are mentally dead. We are spiritually dead as a people.
That's right.
We are like zombies. So the Bible says prophetically that our dead bodies will what?
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
Right. What is the greatest city? A city is a mass amount of people. What do they say is the greatest place in the world? America.
US.
They say U.S. is the U.S. of A. America, spelled with 3 Ks, not 1 C, but 3 Ks. So it says their dead bodies, meaning us, mentally and spiritually dead. Our dead bodies will lie in the street of the great city. Read.
Which spiritually.
Which physically.
Which spiritually.
Read.
Is called Sodom and Egypt.
This place has a spirit. It says this place is called Sodom and Egypt. This place is spiritually Sodom. Why? I think we all can guess why America is Sodom. We know Sodom was destroyed for homosexuality.
Right.
We all know what got passed here in all 50 states. So we know why it's called Sodom. So we're not going to touch on that right now. Maybe another day. But it says not only Sodom, but Egypt. Egypt had all 12 tribes in slavery. You understand? They did what they will with us. You understand? So now, real quick, give me Lamentations 4.
Before you say that, can I touch on one thing? Because you said this place is spiritually called Egypt also.
Yes.
Just to prove that a little further, when you look at a dollar bill, the back of the dollar bill, what does it have on the back? A pyramid.
Yes.
In Washington, D.C., they got obelisks from Egypt.
Obelisk, yes.
Obelisks from Egypt. So this is, spiritual Egypt the Bible's referencing.
Exactly. That's a heavy point. Why is there a pyramid on a dollar?
Right.
We in America. That's thousands of years ago.
Right.
That was thousands of years before Christ when Egypt was ruling. That's Moses' time period.
Right.
America idolizes Egypt.
Right.
Because they had the children of Israel in captive. And now they also have that thing.
Right.
All 12 tribes was
Right.
in Egypt, and all 12 tribes is back in America.
Exactly. So now let's get Lamentations 4 real quick. You cannot go to America to put a stop to this. Okay? Let's get Lamentations 4 verse 17.
This is the book.
Smile the brother find Lamentations. Lamentations 4 verse 17.
This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17.
Mhm.
As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help.
It says, as for us, meaning you Israelites, you blacks, Hispanics, and Indians. It says, our eyes have failed for our vain help. Vain means worthless. It says, our eyes fail for our vain help. Read.
In our watching,
And our watching and waiting, read.
we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
It says, we watch for a nation that cannot save us. Does America have all infinite power over the other countries? Yes.
Yes.
Does America print their own money?
Yes.
Yes. Do they not have the strongest military, strongest army, navy?
Yes.
Don't they got the bomb?
Yeah, the bomb.
Bomb.
They got the bomb. But it says they cannot save us. It does not mean that they're not able to. It means that the way the so-called white man is genetically wired, he does not care for our people.
Right.
He does not care for our people.
Let them know.
Get Psalms. I'm about to prove it to you. Because God describes him. God likens him to a particular animal. Let's get Psalms 58 real quick. For y'all thinking that Master is going to hear y'all cries. Let's see what this Bible says. Psalms 58. Let's start at verse 3.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 58, verse
We're
3.
going to your beloved Psalms right now. Go ahead.
The wicked are estranged from the womb.
Do anybody know what estranged mean? You ever heard somebody say his estranged wife, now she wants alimony and half of his check? His estranged wife, it means this woman who no longer has affection, any affection for him at all. It says the wicked, they don't have any affection for us. Read that again.
The wicked are estranged from the womb.
No. They had an issue with one of our people. That's why they don't like us anymore.
The wicked are estranged from the womb.
It says from the womb. They never had affection for us.
Since birth.
Since when they come into this earth, they are estranged from the womb. They lack affection. They lack morality as a people. And we try to go to them to what? Put a stop to what they're behind.
Right.
Have y'all noticed that since trafficking has got so much exposure, you now seeing our face as the face of trafficking?
Right.
You seeing our brothers, our sisters on headlines?
Right.
You see that thing?
Before
And all
you
these
would
different
see
reports?
Timmy, Johnny,
Exactly. Chuck.
Annie on the cartons.
Exactly.
Now you seeing us.
Yeah. Why? Because they making us the black face.
Mm-hmm.
You see that thing? Why? Because they control the media. So they make us the black face. Okay, you can blame the face, but just know the face can do nothing without the mind.
Right.
You see that thing? Read that part again.
The wicked are estranged from the womb.
Mhm.
They go astray as soon as they be born,
Read.
speaking
It
lies.
says they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies.
Huh.
They make us the face of trafficking. In order to traffic, you need things like jets, private planes, the access security level to pass over the border,
Right.
to not have your vehicle inspected. But somehow, we the face of it.
That's heavy. You said they actually need access to get across, so it's obviously they ain't cahoots. How you have a plane full of kids? Somebody has to do the search and the green light. So this is all in cahoots. This is a worldwide trade.
Absolutely.
This is madness.
Absolutely.
Billions of dollars are being made off of this trade.
Absolutely. Read that verse again, bro.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 58, verse 3.
Mhm.
The wicked
Which is the so-called white man according to the Bible.
are estranged from the womb.
They lack all affection. They lack any love or sympathy for our people. That's what God says. Go ahead.
They go astray as soon as they be born,
Doing what?
speaking lies.
Speaking lies. And guess what? Those lies find their way into the media. Read.
They're poison.
Meaning what? What you read in the media, the mindset that it gives you, read.
Is like the poison of a serpent.
Or a dragon. Go ahead.
They are like the deaf adder.
They are like the what?
The deaf adder.
God likened the so-called white man, America, to a death venomous snake. Imagine a venomous snake biting you and you begging for it to stop, but it's deaf. It's
It
a
don't
killing.
hear you.
It's a killing machine that cannot. It's designed not to hear you. It's designed to continue doing what it was built to do.
It's like what? And it's biting you.
It's biting you over and over again.
What
It's
you say?
It's a deaf venomous snake, and we are trapped in the room with it. We were brought into this room, which is America, to be dwelling amongst a venomous snake that cannot hear our cries for help.
Trying to pet it though.
So your
Exactly.
protest mean
We want to
nothing.
love it.
Yeah.
Oh look! Oh, it's making my neck so warm. Oh whoa, it's getting tighter.
Wow, so
I'm
that's,
getting sleepy.
that's exactly why they tell you when you bring up slavery, they say get over it because they don't hear it. They can't hear it according to the scripture.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's heavy. Go ahead, read.
Finish up 4.
Yeah, finish up that thing. They are what?
Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear,
They're like a deaf venomous snake. Read.
which will not hearken to the voice of the charmer.
Black Lives Matter. Those are charmers. They want to charm America. They would not hearken to charmers.
Right.
Y'all got y'all picket signs y'all out here every day.
And they ain't listening to that.
Our forefathers in the 1960s wore signs that said, I am a man. If you have to wear a sign that says, I am a man, I'm afraid to tell you they would never consider you as one.
Period.
I'm afraid to tell you that. So it says they would not what? Which would not what?
Which will not hearken to the voice of the charmers.
Read.
Charming never so wisely.
So you have your what? You have your all these celebrities who have turned political activists somehow. And they want to speak on behalf of our people. They want to charm so wisely, but you cannot change the attributes and the design of the devil in front of you. The deaf, venomous snake that will continue to bite you until he no longer exists. So now, with that point being established, America is not the place to turn to. You must look at America's history. How was America founded? What strengthened and built up this kingdom, this superpower that it is today? What did that? Let's get Deuteronomy. Let's find out. How was this place built? You want to go to them to stop human trafficking of our people. And you forget how this place was built.
On human trafficking. Let them know.
Come on. Tell him what he won, Johnny. Let's get Deuteronomy 28. Let's get Deuteronomy 28. Let's start at verse 45. We want to go to the human trafficking king capital to stop it, to put an end to it.
Right.
Okay, Deuteronomy 28, let's start at verse 45.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
So God says, because we did not keep his commandments, these curses will come upon us and overtake us. Go ahead.
And they
And they, meaning these curses that we just read about, read.
shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
It says for a sign. A sign of what? Of who the Israelites are. So you have to read these curses. Wow. Who does this apply to in the majority? It says a sign and what else?
And for a wonder.
I wonder why it's our women coming up missing. In 2014, 64,000 black women was missing to the point where the first lady had to say, bring our girls back. She had a sign that said, bring our girls back.
Now, she really Judah. She got pink lotion in her hair.
She probably smelling cocoa butter.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she the real deal.
So that's how bad it is. So it's for women. Why is it our women? How come it ain't 64,000 white women? They're the majority.
Right.
Right.
It should be the majority of them coming up missing.
Right.
So go ahead and read that again.
46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
I wonder why this is happening to us. I wonder why this is impacting us so hard. Go ahead.
And upon thy seed.
The seed of Israel, God's chosen people. God's chosen people are not living their best life. So them fake Jews over there in Israel that's living their best life and they control America and they're bombing Palestine because they control the military, that's not God's chosen people.
That's right.
Because God's chosen people have no might to even get our children back,
Period.
according to these curses.
Right.
So what Bible are you reading? Go ahead, read that part again.
Upon thy seed forever.
Uh-huh.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness.
We are in this position because we service not the Lord our God with joyfulness. We think the commandments are grievous. We think the commandments are hard to do. They're not. You just must practice them, and practice makes perfect. Go ahead.
And with gladness of heart,
Mm-hmm.
for the abundance of all things.
So because we didn't want to keep God's commandments, what did God say?
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
God said what?
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So God going to describe the enemy. Give me verse 49.
Verse 49.
Uh-huh.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
Remember, our forefathers, after 70 AD, when Rome came against Israel, we fled into Africa. And then prior to that, you had the 10 tribes outside of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, who were dwelling in Jerusalem. They came to this place that was called Arsareth, which is now called America. But God said he would do what to both?
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
Read.
From one end of the earth.
Uh-huh.
As swift as the eagle
As
flieth.
swift as the what?
As swift as the eagle flieth.
As swift as the eagle flieth. So you got to ask yourself, what nation symbol is the eagle? Maybe I need a piece of money. Let me grab a quarter. Let me look at the emblem on the back of the quarter. You have a quarter, sir?
I might.
I wanna
I'm
be
in captivity.
American.
I understand.
Who has the eagle?
What did they say when they landed on the moon? Inquiring minds want to ponder on such things. Because God said, what? Read 49 again.
49.
Mhm.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far,
Mhm.
from one end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Why are you so-called black speaking English and never been to England?
Right.
Why are you Hispanic speaking Spanish and never been to Spain?
Right.
Why are you even called Hispanic in the first place?
Let them know.
Y'all never been to Spain before. You don't know what Paris looked like. You ain't never seen the Eiffel Tower.
Some of our brothers and sisters speak Portuguese. Ain't never been to Portugal.
They speak French, never been to France. You so-called Haitians from the tribe of Levi, according to the Bible. So God says that what? These things he would do to us. So now, jump to verse 68. Let's get verse 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Because remember, we're dealing with how was America founded? What strengthened this place? How to get built up to the superpower that it is today, where it's above all countries and kingdoms. How to get to that? Let's see.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So remember, we read earlier that America is spiritual what?
Egypt.
Spiritual Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So God says, I will bring you into what?
Egypt again.
Read.
With ships.
God says, I will bring a nation of people, my people, the Israelites, into Egypt or slavery again with ships. Is that not human trafficking?
It's human trafficking.
Is that not how America was built?
Big business.
Off the old money?
Big money.
The old money.
With little faces.
The old money.
Money still getting spent in 2020.
They still got shekels.
Right.
They still spending shilligans.
Right.
So it's a, so it's a,
Farley.
so read that again, verse 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
If you want a ship, aren't you cargo?
Hmm.
Aren't you being ships trafficked? Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee,
God said, just like I'm telling you right now. Read.
thou shalt see it no more
We
again.
can kiss our homeland goodbye. And we did kiss our homeland goodbye. Read on.
And there
And when you get off that ship, after you've been trafficked and you're a human, read.
ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Is that not human
out.
trafficking?
Bring it out.
Is that not human trafficking? Didn't God
Yeah.
say that the Israelites would be human trafficked?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Read on.
For bondmen
Men in bondage, meaning against their will. Read.
and bondwomen.
Bond women, women in bondage. You're held against your will. You are at the mercy of your captors.
Right.
Read.
And no man shall buy you.
Meaning what? No man shall buy the freedom of your nation. No nation stepped up and said, we want to buy the Israelites' freedom. After this bondage y'all have placed them in. Nobody stood up and did that.
No.
Not one. So we had our own people try to stand up and fight for us. But what happened to them? They killed our leaders
Assassinated.
in both kingdoms. They killed our leaders from Atahualpa, Geronimo, MLK, Malcolm X. Our leaders were put to death on both sides of the fence, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. And now they say Geronimo every time they jump from a helicopter or jump into a swimming pool.
Damn.
When I was a leader of the Northern Kingdom, that would pop up out of nowhere and slay hundreds and dozens of them.
Yeah. Damn,
So-
that's heavy.
Read 68 one more time.
This is the book of Deuteronomy 28, verse 68.
So we're reading human trafficking and slavery, captivity in the Bible. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee
These God's chosen people, come on.
into Egypt again
Meaning slavery again, come on.
with ships.
With ships.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Now we were sold to our friends.
Unto your enemies.
No, we were sold to our equals.
You shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
No nation stood up and said, I want to, tell me the price that you have to free the Israelites. No nation did that.
Right.
How much gold do you need to free this people? Because that's God's people that you got in slavery.
Right.
That's God people on them plantations. That brother you just whooped, you turned his name from Kunta to Toby, that was God's chosen people that you just did that to.
Right.
What nation did that? Not a one.
That's heavy.
Not a one. So this is what? They call us slaves, but those were not slaves. Those were the Jews, those Israelites who you enslaved. People say, oh, I descend from slaves. No, I descend from the Jews who were enslaved. Those were families. Mothers, husbands, brothers, sisters, kidnapped, snapped, and sold away one from another.
Right.
Let's get Maccabees 3.
Real quick, sis, because I know you got some history knowledge. What was the first thing on the stock market, since we're talking about what built America?
Uh-oh.
Oh, the first thing on the stock
The
market?
First thing that they sold on the stock market.
Uh-oh.
First commodity on stock market.
The first commodity.
I don't know, but I'm gonna guess anyway.
Go on
I'm
and
thinking people, us,
What people?
us.
All praises, yes.
Tell her what she's won.
More knowledge, thank you.
Knowledge.
So yes, the first people was us. The first thing on the stock market. So as I'm bringing out what built this country, what started getting their stock and their money and then the gold and everything assembled, they was selling us. If you look at the list of the trade stock they had on there, they was all Israelite names. Ending with Yah. It's people like Yediah, Uriah. Those was the names of the list of the people that was actually on the slave market before their names got transferred over when they got sold to the best seller, the best buyer. That's Black history for today. But carry on, huh?
All right, so let's get Maccabees 3. We got about half now. It's crunch time. Let's get Maccabees 3. Let's start at verse 41.
The book of Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 41. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves.
So according to the Bible, all nations would come to buy us as slaves. We were a hot commodity. You understand? You can keep us on the shelf, so to speak. They have always, all nations would come to buy us for slaves. Now, jump to Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 10.
This is the book of Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 10.
Go ahead.
What nation have not had a part in her kingdom?
What did the Bible just say?
What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom?
What nation is not a part of our downfall and persistent subjugation and oppression? What nation is not a part of it? That's what the Bible says. Read on.
And gotten her spoils.
What nation have not had a hand in slavery, benefited from the free labor? Those ships went everywhere. That's why it's called the transatlantic slave trade, because those ships went everywhere. They didn't just go in one direction. They went east, west, north, and south.
Right.
So it said, God is asking, what nation did not have a part in it?
Right.
You may have short-term memory. You may have compassion for these nations, but God remember everything.
That's right.
Guess what? His computer don't delete no information.
Right.
You think you got a tetrabyte. God got a heaven byte. And guess what? He remember everything. So, let me get the definition of sex trafficking.
Verse 11 is,
That's all I want.
okay.
Let me get the definition of sex trafficking now.
The definition of sex trafficking: the action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another
Mhm.
for the purpose of sexual exploitation.
For the purpose of using them as sexual objects. You benefit from them, meanwhile they are what? Raped and prostituted. That's called sex trafficking. You understand? Human trafficking pretty much goes into what? Free labor, organ harvesting, things of that nature. Then you got sex trafficking, for example. Is that a new thing where our sisters will use, and a lot of our, the young boys that come missing, they are used also. But is that a new thing with our sisters? Remember, in 2014, 64,000 so-called black women were missing to the point where the first lady, Michelle Obama, had to say something. So now, let's get Deuteronomy 28 and verse 30. Let's see, is that a new thing, or is this a curse that has affected you Israelites? And it will be a sign upon you until our people get ourselves together, and then we will get delivered from this current kingdom when the black Messiah returns. Let's read the curse.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, which verse?
Verse 30.
Verse 30. All right. Thou shalt betroth a wife.
So the Bible says we will be promised to have a wife. Typically, this will happen on a plantation. Go ahead.
Thou shalt betroth a wife,
Mhm.
and another man shall lie with her.
Why? Because you might get a wife. One day, Master Richard say, you know what, boy? I like Mary. And Tom from Virginia, he likes Mary too. This your last night with Mary. I know y'all jumped the broom yesterday afternoon, but I'm gonna be selling Mary to Tom. It's gonna benefit the plantation. You know, I've been trying to have ends meet. Cotton ain't growing like it used to. I'm gonna be taking your wife, Mary, tomorrow. And then she would be sold to a different plantation. And says another man would lie with her on that plantation. You understand? So guess what? Sex trafficking is not a new thing. It's a curse that primarily affects you Israelite women. You understand? It says we will have wives and other men will lie with them. You understand? Get limitations. Who is this Bible talking about? God's chosen people.
What are we reading? The King James Bible that's in everybody's grandmama table collecting dust next to the candy jar with the red strawberry things.
That's that hard candy.
That hard candy. The strawberry things.
That
with
hard,
the soft
hard
middle.
candy. Get Limitations 5, verse 11. Watch this. We're dealing with sex trafficking. Go ahead.
Book of Lamentations, chapter 5, verse 11.
Watch this.
They ravished the women in Zion.
It says they ravished women in Zion. In antiquity, our foremothers were always commodities. They were always sexually exploited by the other nations once we got into captivity. It says they ravished women in Zion. Zion is another word for Israel. God's talking about his own daughters. Why? Because we go into captivity. Every time we break commandments. We built what? We built Egypt up. We built Babylon. We built the Persian and Mede kingdom. We served under the Greeks. We served under Rome. Now we under America. Same thing is happening. It happens over and over again. Why? Because these curses are a sign and a wonder. We got these curses after we left Egypt. Since Egypt, it's been many great kingdoms. Right now, we're under the greatest kingdom. And guess what? The same thing is happening. Why? Because it's a sign and a wonder. Forever. That's right. From Moses' time to now, it bears witness.
Right.
Read that part again.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 5, verse 11. They ravished the women in Zion.
They ravished the women in Zion. They raped them. Go ahead.
And the maids in the cities of Judah.
You see that thing? Our young daughters, the women and our young girls, the maids, they are what? They are sexually exploited. They are trafficked. And they are missing more than anybody else. It is this, although we make up 10 to 14% according to their census, which we know they're a bunch of liars.
Right.
But they say we make up 10 to 14% of the U.S. population, which I beg to differ personally. But according to the FBI Bureau, we make up 10 to 14%, but somehow we make up, what? Over 1/3 of those who are missing. And a lot of that is what? Black women. You understand? So it says what? Our women get raped and ravished. That's what happens. You understand?
Right.
Get Joel 3, because it's not just our women also. Remember, it says, Officer, can you read sex trafficking one more time? Why you get Joel 3?
The definition of sex trafficking.
Uh-huh.
The action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another for the purpose of sexual exploitation.
Sexual exploitation means I benefit while it's your detriment. You understand? It's a good thing for me, bad for you, right? So watch this. Did it just happen to our women? Or did it just happen to our women today? No, it's happening to our men too, and our young men as well. A lot of you little black boys come up missing, they get snatched. And they what? They end up in the hands of pedophiles. And people who, and those who handle them, make large amounts of money. So, has that happened to the Jews before in antiquity? Let's see. Joel 3 and verse 3.
The book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 3.
We just reading the Bible.
And they have cast lots for my people.
God says they cast lots for his people. What does it mean to cast lots? It means to bid upon. Like, for example, you want to buy a car, you go to what? You go to a car lot, of course. Honda car lot, you go to Toyota car lot. So it says they have cast lots for my people, read.
And have given a boy for an harlot. And
Wait. What did it say?
and given a boy for an harlot.
Meaning what? They turn our young boys into breeders. They use them for the purpose of benefiting from their sex.
Right.
It says giving a boy for a harlot. You understand? Meaning what? Sexual exploitation. I benefit from your sex. During this time period, it was so what? We can make more slaves.
Right.
Nowadays, a lot of it is for what? Pleasure. Sexual exploitation. Go ahead.
And sold a girl for
And
wine,
they were selling out girls for wine, meaning selling them for cheap. Go ahead.
that they might drink.
Read.
Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon,
Uh-huh.
and all the coast of Palestine?
So it's showing you that what? It's not just one nation that's benefiting. A lot of the nations are benefiting. The Arabs got us selling on auction blocks in Libya to this day.
Right now.
You understand? For free labor and organ harvesting. So now jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6.
Uh-huh.
The children also of Judah,
Judah is the same tribe that Christ came from.
and the children of Jerusalem,
Meaning us. Judah is the so-called black man in America today. What's happening to us? Read. Have you what?
have ye sold to the Grecians.
Have you what?
Have ye sold to the Grecians.
Who is the Grecians? The Greeks. Who are the Greeks? The so-called white men. God says the children of Judah, which is what? The head tribe of the nation of Israel, the Jews. Jews is an abbreviation for Judah. They are being sold unto the Grecians. You understand? This is what? Human trafficking and what? Sex trafficking. Sexual exploitation. Read.
That ye might remove them far from their border.
You see that thing? That you might remove them far from their border. Today we remove from our homes. We remove from our cities. So what? It is no new thing under the sun. You got breeding, free labor, sex slaves, organ stealing, organ harvesting. Let's get wisdom of Solomon.
Wow, that was heavy. What we just read is the transatlantic slave trade. The Bible is a true book. The Bible is a 100% true book about our history and also our future. We got to get back to it. Keep in mind what I also read earlier, that the enemies, God called them our enemies. Not only our enemies, but also liars. So why would we put our trust in their religious systems? In modern Christianity, Baptist, Catholic, Methodist, Seventh-day Adventist. God said they're our enemies and they're liars.
That's right. That's right. So today we are what? We are suffering from what? More than anyone else, blacks and Hispanics, who are the Israelites, are suffering from what? Human trafficking and sex trafficking. So what happens after you come up missing? Sexual exploitation, free labor, organ stealing, organ harvesting. Wisdom of Solomon 15, verse 12.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
But they counted our life a pastime.
It says they do what?
But they counted our life a pastime.
It says our life to them is nothing but a pastime.
Damn.
It says they counted our life a pastime. Read.
And our time here a market for gain.
It says in our time on this earth is a market for gain. Whether it's what? Sex slave, free labor, whether it's organ harvesting. Our life is nothing but a pastime, and for them a market for gain. Read.
For say they,
This is what the other nations say. This is what the white man says. Read.
we must be getting every way
Take sex from them. Take free labor from them. Take the organs from them.
Woo.
We must get it in every way.
Take their hair from them.
Take their heritage from them.
Mm.
Take Jesus from them.
Take the disciples from them.
Read that verse again.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
But they counted our life a pastime,
Uh-huh.
and our time here a market for gain.
Uh-huh.
For say they, we must be getting every way.
Every way possible, we are being what? Exploited. We are being exploited.
Bars.
Now, let's go back to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. Let's
It's
go
one
back.
more. It's one more.
Now we press the time.
Okay.
Let's go back. Deuteronomy 28.
Call
Verse
in,
15.
call in if y'all have any questions. Nothing but the word of God coming out. So if you're offended, You might just want to overlook these scriptures one more time. This is nothing but God letting you know that you are the children of Israel.
That's right.
Right. Go ahead, verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So now let's get another curse. Let's get another curse. Let's get verse 65.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 65. And among these
It
nations
says, among these nations, read,
thou shalt find no ease.
among these nations that we've been scattered amongst through what? Human trafficking. The original human trafficking.
Right.
Trans-Saharan slave trade. Transatlantic slave trade. Among these nations we shall find no ease. Read on.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest.
Because we are the hardest working people. Although they stigmatize us as lazy ever since we stopped working for free.
Right.
Which is, I just find ridiculous. But it says we shall find no ease. Read on.
But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart,
Uh-huh.
and failing of eyes,
Uh-huh.
and sorrow of mind.
Watch this. Go ahead.
And thy life
And our lives that are counted as a pastime and a market for gain to the other nations. It says in our life, read.
shall hang in doubt before thee.
Our women are scared to go to the car. They are scared to go to the store after the sun goes down. They scared to go to the store when the sun is up.
Right.
You might watch what cars you park into. Every time they see a Spectrum truck, they scared. A Time Warner truck, a Comcast truck.
True.
They think today is Judgment Day. They think they think that they about to be thrown in the back of a van.
Right.
You understand? It says our life hangs in doubt. Our women are in fear. It says our life hangs in doubt. Some brothers are in fear. Some brothers hop in the Uber or a Lyft and they texting their mans like, "Hey, bro, just let you know I'm in this Uber right now. It's supposed to be taking me up the street. So if you don't hear from
Supposed
me,
to be taking
and
them.
I'm gonna let you know when I get there. So if you don't hear from me, it should take about 10 minutes.
Right.
Why? Because our life hangs in doubt. Read that again, 66.
Verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night.
Oh man, it's 6 a.m. I'm walking to the car. Oh no, somebody might hop out on me. It's too early. Ain't nobody out here. The sun is barely up. At nighttime, oh man, it's after 7 o'clock. Oh man, it's winter time. The sun down at 5 o'clock. I don't know what. I'm just gonna be in the house. And what? Now you got a spirit of fear upon you that God never gave our people.
Right.
God never wanted us to have a spirit of fear, but what? These curses are upon us. Why? Because we are rebellious and stiff-necked people.
Period.
66 one more time.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have no assurance of thy life.
No assurance of your life. Our children go missing. What do the police say most of the time? Oh, maybe it's a runaway. No assurance. Oh, it's a black man missing. Oh, maybe it's gang related.
Give it some time.
Oh, it's a black woman missing. Oh man, anybody raping her? She probably just promiscuous. She probably wanted it.
Right.
We have no assurance of our life. So why does God let these things happen? Get Job 36. Job 36. And start at verse 6. I'm going to show you what God said. We're going to tell you the truth. Job 36, verse 6. You got it? Go ahead.
The book of Job, chapter 36, verse 6.
Watch this.
He preserveth not the life of the wicked.
Read what God said one more time for those who live in fear. Listen. Go ahead.
He preserveth not the life of the wicked.
The Bible says God does not preserve the life of the wicked. The wicked are those who what? Do not keep God's commandments. You want to stop living in fear? God says he preserveth not the life of the wicked. Meaning what? He does preserve the life of those who keep his commandments and the faith of his son Jesus Christ. So this is a message for all of you. Listen, we are Israel united in Christ. Repentance is open. Repentance is for the living Israelites in this world. You understand? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, today is your day. It's time to repent. God said what? Read 6 again.
He preserveth not the life of the wicked,
Read.
but giveth right to the poor.
Now, jump down to verse 9.
Verse 9.
Uh-huh.
Then he showeth them their work,
Uh-huh.
and their transgressions that they have exceeded.
So these things have come upon us. Why? Because of our transgressions. Read.
He openeth also their ear to discipline,
Read.
and commandeth that they return from iniquity.
So God is commanding us to return from our iniquity and come back to who we are. You understand? These things come upon us so that what? So God has given us a wake-up call. That's why this thing is getting out of control. Watch this. Give me verse 15. Same chapter.
Verse 15. He delivereth the poor in his affliction,
Read.
and openeth their ears in oppression.
God says when everything is going good for us, our ears are closed.
Mm-hmm.
God says he opened up our ears in oppression. That's the only time the Israelites listen. When things are getting out of control, when things start to spiral, now we want to listen. Now we begin to hearken. You understand? You begin to hearken when what? When is your husband missing? When is your wife missing? When is your child missing? Now you want to seek God. At that point, sorry to tell you, a lot of times it's too late. You understand? Seek God now. Seek God while the message is going out. This is the true gospel.
That's right.
This is no fairy tale book. This Bible is your reality.
Right.
You understand? Now from there. So guess what? While all these things are being brought to the light, some of our people are daydreaming about Christmas right now.
Right.
Not knowing that during slavery, we was the gifts. We was being human trafficked back then. We were being sex trafficked back then. Let's get that. Let's get Revelation 11 real quick. Right now, this message is coming out. People thinking about Christmas. Oh man, I'm about to go into debt. What credit card bill am I about to get ready to run out?
Right.
Lord knows I ain't got it. Yeah, Lord knows a lot of things about you. The Lord turn the heat up on you until you repent. Revelation 11, verse 10. Watch this.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 10.
Uh-huh.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them.
Who's the them? The Israelites. Why? Everybody is benefiting from our suffering. So it says, they that dwell upon the earth, they rejoice over us. Why? Because of the free labor. We are commodity. We are at the bottom pedaling while the machine looks good at the top. You understand? We do all the remedial work while they at the top shining and looking good.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them. Read.
And make merry.
They shall do what?
And make merry.
They says, and they shall make merry. Read.
And shall send gifts one to another.
Guess what they would do during slavery? They would send you as a gift.
Here's
Merry
Here's
Christmas.
a strong buck for you, Tommy.
With a ribbon on the neck.
You know what? I know I didn't get you anything last year. So this year I thought I'd make up for it. Kunta, come on now. Stand up, look. He got no diseases. Hold your mouth up, boy. He got all his teeth. He's strong as an ox.
Right.
They would make merry and send gifts one to another. Who was those gifts? Those gifts was you. What was that? That's human trafficking. That's sex trafficking. You understand? There is no new thing under the sun. This Bible is talking about you.
That's right.
So watch this. This place is destined to be destroyed. Those of you who want America to be around for forever, guess what? You're going to burn with America.
That's
You're
right.
going to burn with America. This place is destined for judgment. Just like ancient Egypt, God is wanting to bring this place down himself.
Right.
I'm going to prove it to you.
Make it plain.
You know how they also rejoiced over us? Popeyes rejoiced over us, making him millions over one sandwich.
That's
He
right.
rejoice over me.
Process. I never had one of them.
Me neither.
Let's get all praise to
Me
the Most
neither.
High. All men cannot receive this same. Let's get Revelations 18, starting verse 2. Watch this. This place is destined for destruction. Let's get a little joy reading about the coming destruction of America, which is Babylon the Great, according to the Bible. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen.
Which Esau, the white man, calls America. God calls this place Babylon, the mother of wickedness. Read on.
Babylon the Great is fallen,
Read.
is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils.
God said it. We ain't said it. It's the habitation of what?
Of devils.
Read on.
And whole of every foul spirit.
This is the place where you can find every foul spirit. Homosexuality, pedophilia, which is the motivation behind sex trafficking and human trafficking. Read.
And a cage of every unclean, hateful bird.
Read.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
All nations are in cahoots with what America is propagating. Read.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
Meaning what? All the other nations, all the heathen are in bed with the so-called white man. They in bed with his policies. They in bed with the human trafficking. Human trafficking is $150 trillion industry. No, $150 billion industry. According to 2018 reports, human trafficking is $152 billion industry. $152 billion a year. You understand? Who is that? That's you being sold. That's your children being sold. That's our women being sold. So read that again.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
Right.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Delicacy means one of the best things you could possibly have. You know what's the best thing anyone could possibly have? Our people in bondage. That's the best thing anyone can have is God's chosen people in bondage. Why? Because you guarantee the success of your kingdom. Because we are here. Now, jump down. Give me verse 11.
Verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her.
It says when this place is judged, and all praises for that day that's coming.
Right.
It says the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. Read.
For no man buyeth their merchandise anymore.
When this place is brought down, no one will buy her merchandise anymore. Let's read on. Let's read about her merchandise. Come on.
The merchandise of gold
America has plenty of that. Go ahead.
and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple
Read.
and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood
Read.
and of brass and iron and marble
America is abundant in all these things because they robbed the other countries for these things. Go ahead.
and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine.
So when America is destroyed, they gon' what? They gonna wail and cry because they won't be able to purchase these things anymore. Go ahead.
And oil, fine flour and wheat,
Uh-huh.
and beast, and sheep, and horses, and chariots,
And what else?
and slaves,
And what?
and slaves.
Guess
Let
what?
them know.
America is going to be destroyed. Why? Because they have put God's chosen people in slavery time and time again. And when America is brought down, they're going to mourn. Why? Because they won't have access to the free labor, the sexual exploitation of our people anymore. It says, and slaves and what else?
And souls of men.
Whose souls are being impacted the worst? The Israelites' soul.
All right,
Right.
that's right.
You so-called blacks, Hispanics, who they say make up less than a quarter of the population, but almost 50 to 60% of those who go on missing. Do we have time for one more scripture, my sister? Exodus 21, real quick. What's God's position
Bring it out.
on the buying and selling of his people? What is God's position? Let's read the statute. Let's read the commandment. Exodus 21.
Exodus 21 and verse 16.
Let's see God's position. Go ahead.
And he that stealeth a man,
Do our women get stolen? Do our men get stolen? Our children get stolen? Okay, what, God said what?
and he that stealeth a man,
Read.
and selleth
You
him,
know they get sold to different people, different buyers. They auction us off. It says, he that stealeth a man and selleth him, read.
or if he be found in his hand,
Didn't they bring us over to America? Are we still here in America? It says, and if he be found in his hand, what's the judgment for the nation that does that?
he shall surely be put to death.
What's going to happen to the so-called white man when Christ returns?
He shall surely be put to death.
There is no multicultural kingdom.
That's a just God.
That's it. I love that God. The God is Bible.
Just God.
That's my God right there.
That's right.
I don't know about the one who's being taught. Sounds like an anti-God to me, an anti-Christ to me.
Right.
Because the Christ of this Bible is about true justice and judgment.
Right. All praises. I just want one scripture to take us out. Give me John chapter 7, verse 38. John 7, 38. If you don't know, now you know. This Bible is your history. It is no shape or form what is coming out today does not apply to your people. It is time we repent. Let me get that, huh?
This is the book of John, chapter 7, verse 38. He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water.
That's what you're getting today. That's what you get in every week. This is what you're getting worldwide by the prophets. They're giving you living water. Why? Because it's high time for our people to wake up, and the Most High is flooding his word throughout every city and country throughout the world. You have no choice but to either come with it and flow with the word, or you're going to get drowned, and then there's going to be judgment when that thing comes. But don't say that you're not getting the word. Thus said the Lord, plain as day, and you cannot deny that these scriptures do not apply to you. This is only you in the clearest form. The veil has been lifted up. The understanding of God's word is out. It's time to repent, people. All praise to the Most High for that edification. You are listening to the Living Waters Radio, And you got Officer Yadai that just lit the building up. Got Officer Uriah. We got Officer Dothan. And myself, Officer Azarel. Coming out of Cleveland, Ohio. We are going to bring y'all this word every week. Make sure y'all tuning in. With that, we say shalom.
And don't forget Sundays. If you want to learn more, come to the Chandler building, which is located on London and Euclid Avenue. Okay, 17325 Euclid Avenue. The third floor. All right. Come on, check us out. Come learn who you are. Come learn the truth. 2 to 4 p.m. Sundays.
Don't forget IsraelUnite.org, Facebook, IUIC in the classroom. That's IsraelUnite.org. We are IUIC. Our website is IsraelUnite.org. You can go to the contact map no matter what state or city you're in. More than likely, we are there in your city. We are a global entity. Operates to the Most High. Shalom.
Shalom.
Good show. Good show.
Yeah, all praise to the Most High. Show that thing up, bro.
Operates to God. Thanks for the help, brother. Everything came out except for one verse. All praise to God.
All praise. You sending us some music too. I got to go through Yaakov gave me. I got Isley Brothers on there, Michael Jackson. I'm like, dude, I told you to give me a clear cut list. You done threw me all the
whole joint.
Man, I got like 2,000 songs going. I ain't got time for this.
Hey, sis. Are we going to stay live on YouTube?
Everything about the change, yeah. I just wanna see the day. I don't wanna have to die.